Chen Rui wakes in a haze. The opulence of the skyscraper office a stark contrast to his familiar dorm. Sunlight reflects off polished surfaces, the tinted glass revealing a stranger in a sharp suit. A cold, mechanical voice echoes through the room, announcing his transmigration and his mission. He learns his mission: guide CEO Li Zhen to win Miss Shu's heart or face deletion. Familiar with the tropes, Chen Rui steels himself, resolving to play his role and survive this bizarre twist. In the expansive office, CEO Li Zhen emerges from his paperwork, his gaze locking onto Chen Rui with unnerving intensity. Li Zhen's eyes gleam with a steely resolve, hinting at a hidden agenda. Chen Rui stands still, a knot of unease tightening in his stomach. The familiar script begins to unravel, leaving Chen Rui in a state of nervous anticipation. Chapter 1. The cold CEO and his shadow Li Zhen was perfection carved in marble. Dark hair, angular jawline, broad shoulders that filled a suit as though it had been stitched directly onto him. He exuded a natural dominance that made subordinates shrink. Assistant Chen, his deep voice cut through the silence. Schedule a meeting with Bai Corporation and arrange white roses for Miss Shu. Chen Rui bowed slightly. Yes, President Li. For weeks, Rui worked diligently. He stayed late, organizing files, handled crises before they reached the CEO's desk, and polished every stepping stone in Li Zhen's path toward Miss Shu. But he couldn't ignore the small things. The way Li Zhen's tone softened when addressing him. The way his eyes lingered when Rui leaned over the desk to set down coffee. One night, exhausted, Rui fell asleep at his desk. When he awoke, a blanket had been draped over him, still faintly warm. System, Rui whispered nervously. Is the plot still on track? Affirmative. Romance flag with heroine pending. Then why did the CEO look at him like that? Chapter 2. The cracks in the script. The first official romance between Li Zhen and Miss Shu should be smooth. Rui arranged the flowers, dinner reservation, even rehearsed Li Zhen's lines in his head. But when Miss Shu excused herself early, claiming an urgent engagement, the CEO said nothing. He merely swirled his wine and glanced at Rui. You stayed late again yesterday, Li Zhen remarked casually. Rui blinked. It's my job, President Li. Li Zhen's lips curved faintly. Then I should reward such loyalty. He poured a second glass of wine, sliding it toward Rui. Rui froze. Ah, no, I couldn't possibly. But the CEO's gaze was unyielding, and against his better judgment, Rui accepted. The wine was smooth. The air between them was not. Heat flickered where it shouldn't, tightening Rui's chest. That night, lying in bed, Rui scolded himself. You're here to make him fall for Miss Shu, not you. Stay alive. Stay invisible. But his pulse still raced whenever he remembered Li Zhen's eyes. Chapter 3. The Banquet. The annual corporate banquet glittered with chandeliers, silk gowns, and cameras. Rui stayed in the background, clipboard in hand, monitoring every detail. Until he saw it, the waiter slipping something into Li Zhen's drink. President Li, don't. Rui's warning came too late. Minutes later, Li Zhen's composure cracked. His face flushed. His steps faltered. His hand clutched Rui's arm in a bruising grip. Help me, upstairs. President Li, Miss Shu is... Don't say her name. The words sent Rui's pulse into chaos. Before he knew it, he was being dragged through corridors, pressed against a hotel suite door. The system shrieked in his mind. Warning, plot deviation detected. Host must redirect target toward Miss Shu. But Li Zhen's breath burned against his skin, and his eyes, dark, wild, desperate, were fixed only on Rui. Chapter 4. The Unwritten Night Inside. The hotel room. Li Zhen's restraint crumbled. His lips crashed against Rui's, silencing every protest. His heat was overwhelming, his strength inescapable. Rui's mind screamed, wrong, wrong, this isn't the script, yet his body melted under the intensity. President Lee, Rui gasped. Zen, the man growled, pulling him closer. Call me Zen. The system blared warnings, then fizzled into silence. For the first time since transmigration, Rui felt terrifyingly alive. That night he stopped being just Assistant Chen. He became the only person who could cool the fire in Li Zhen's veins. Chapter 5. Morning Chains. Sunlight streamed through the curtains. Rui woke, sore and disoriented, only to realize Li Zhen's arm was still draped firmly around his waist. His heart nearly stopped. Oh God, I broke the novel. When Rui tried to slip away, the grip tightened. Li Zhen's voice was low, dangerous. Trying to run? Rui stammered. I was just going to make coffee. Li Zhen pressed a kiss to his temple, a softness at odds with his sharp demeanor. You don't need to. Stay. The system finally returned, its voice flat. Main storyline corrupted. New route initiated. Romance with CEO. Rui buried his face in his hands. I'm doomed. Chapsik's office tension work became unbearable. Rui tried to act normal, typing reports, organizing schedules, but under the table, Li Zhen's hand would brush against his. In meetings, their knees touched. In the elevator, Li Zhen leaned close, his breath warm on Rui's ear. Assistant Chen, Li Zhen murmured once. You look better when you're flustered. Rui nearly dropped his tablet. The slow burn drove him insane. Every glance, every accidental touch, every stolen moment of closeness until one late night, when Rui finally snapped. President Lee, we can't do this, he whispered, voice trembling. You're supposed to be with Miss Shu. Li Zhen pinned him against the desk, eyes blazing. I don't want Miss Shu. His lips brushed Rui's ear, sending shivers down his spine. I only want you. Epilogue, a different ending. The novel CEO's cold wife was supposed to end with a grand wedding between Li Zhen and Miss Shu. Instead, years later, the tabloids showed photos of Li Zhen arriving at events hand in hand with his quiet, bespectacled assistant. Miss Shu had long since married someone else, and Chen Rui, once cannon fodder destined for erasure, found himself living in the penthouse office not as an assistant but as the person Li Zhen refused to let go of. One night, Rui whispered against Li Zhen's chest. You ruined the plot. Li Zhen chuckled, kissing the top of his head. Then let's write our own. The system's final line echoed faintly before disappearing forever. Mission failed, but congratulations on your happy ending.